Another calculation with the time value of money is to calculate retirement. So we have the same variables, N, I, PV, PMT, and FV. And in this case, we're just going to make up a scenario. We say we're fairly young, 30 years to retirement. We think we can get an 8% return over the next 30 years on average. Our present value, we've saved a few bucks. We're going to give ourselves a $10,000 present value. That's how much we've saved so far. And we can save a few more thousand a year, but our cash is kind of tight. So we're going to say $2,000 in the payment. Every year we're going to add to the $10,000. And our future value is what we're looking for. So we just pull out our financial calculator, and we always clear it. Second, clear again to clear the register. Now we know it's completely empty. We simply enter the variables. 30, N, 8, I, 10,000, present value, 2,000, payment, compute, future value, $327,192. If we have 30 years to retirement, 8% in return over those 30 years every year. We have a present value of $10,000 that is the amount we've saved so far. We add to it $2,000 a year. We end up with $327,000 in the end of 30 years. That doesn't sound like enough for retirement, so let's do a different example. Let's say we need $1 million for our retirement, and all of the other numbers are the same, except we want to find out how much we have to save every year to add to our $10,000. So the numbers are still the same, 30 years and 8%. I, present value is 10,000, and we're looking for payment. Well, if we pull our calculator out, we know that the register has most of these variables already in it, and they're saved. So we simply need to change the $327,000 to $1 million. We do that by just hitting the buttons for $1 million. Now remember, present value and future value need to be opposite signs. So we're depositing 10,000, we're depositing our payment, and we're withdrawing $1 million. So we need to change sign before we enter the $1 million into future value. So it's FV equals minus $1 million. And we simply hit compute payment. And the payment is $7,939.15. So if you can save $7,939 per year over the next 30 years and get an 8% return starting with $10,000, you'll end up with $1 million. That might be a little high for you, but maybe you've got extra savings that you don't count in your present value. So let's look if we add some more savings to it now. So we still want our $1 million, and we think our $7,900 payment's too high, but maybe we need to go back to our $2,000 payment because that's all our cash flow can allow. We leave our 8% and our 30 years. We simply do the calculation again. So we go back to $2,000 for our payment, and we compute present value. And that's $76,861. So the present value is $76,861. What that says is if there's 30 years to retirement, we can get an 8% return. We need to have $76,861 saved already if we're only going to add $2,000 per year to end up with our $1 million. Well, maybe we don't have that either, so we need to calculate possibly a higher rate of return. If we go to our calculation again, we have 30 years to go, and our present value is really only $10,000, and we can really only save $2,000 a month, but we still need to get to $1 million. How much return do we need to be able to do that? Well, that's a good question. So in this calculation, we go back to our present value of $10,000, enter PV, and then we compute I over Y, and it takes a little bit to think about this, and it gives us 13.10%. So if we can get a 13% return over 30 years, starting with $10,000, then we can increase it, use our $2,000 a month payment, or a $2,000 a year payment to get $1 million. Now 13% is quite high, But you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying every variable here. So one of the things we can do in retirement always is just work a little longer. So the question is, how long would we have to work if we can only live with an 8% return, a $10,000 present value, a $2,000 payment, and we still need our $1 million for retirement? How long would we have to work? We simply go back to our 8% I and then compute N. And it's 43.88 years. So 43 years of 8% return starting at $10,000 gives us $2,000 a month payment, and $2,000 a year additional deposit gives us $1 million future value. So you can see that every one of the variables I've run in a different scenario. And you can adjust all these variables for your own situation. Start with the numbers you know, like how much you actually have in present value saved for your retirement, how much you possibly could save in a payment, and I'll show you in a different calculation how to get a good guess at what future value you need for retirement to maintain your lifestyle today. But you can see as a calculation process, once you have 4 of the 5 variables, you can run pretty much any scenario you want. This is a good example because retirement calculations are something that everyone is usually interested in. So remember, your financial calculator can run all the different scenarios you want, so run a lot of different scenarios.